How to thrive in the 21st century America. I got some points to make, and then I got a document that I'm going to, go over a little bit. Current events has been running long. Unfortunately, if you're listening to the show online, you got about 10 minutes left in the broadcast. We're definitely going to stream. So 563-999-3625. If you do not want to get disconnected, but let's jump into this. We got a lot of things going on in this world. As I said earlier, but there is a way that you can thrive in the 21st, 22nd century. If you live that long, we're in the 20s, man. Can you live another 80 years? It's possible. You never know. The technologies that might be introduced, you may be able to eat a salad and not only get your poke, but get a facelift. You want that facelift salad? Huh? In order to thrive, you're going to need some qualities. You're going to need to do some things. I'm going to start off first by saying you're going to have to stay humble. You're going to have to stay humble. We're moving away from the ego and individual to the collective. That's just the way this whole thing is going right now. It's a combination of just natural progression, also a combination of a push from different governments and the World Economic Forum and these different things. So, look, stay humble, man. Sister, brother, stay humble. You ain't that tight. Nobody cares. The only people that care are those who depend on you. You ain't got nothing to prove to anyone but to yourself and to those who, depend on you. And even still, you don't have anything to prove to anyone. Just stay humble. Let someone else toot their own horn or whatever, up-talk themselves. It's going to be a differentiation. So, I would say number one, stay humble. Just, stay humble. Next, we're going to say, don't filter. Do not filter. And, I say filter and people think, filter on your photo app or something like that. People throwing filters on their photographs. And you could throw filters in your life, man. I know of people that don't pay any property tax but still put rims on their lack. Nice cars, nice clothes, jewelry, don't own any assets. That's a filter. You pull up, you got the nice whip with the rims and stuff, and you got maybe some jewelry and stuff. You know what I mean? But you damn near homeless. You live in a studio or a one bedroom you can barely afford, barely got any furniture. And it's all about the look. It's all about how you're perceived by alleged peers. That's not how you're gonna thrive. Can't do it. That's not thriving. It's not at all. You gotta kill that filter. Kill the filter, the life filter, the Insta filter, whatever, the TikTok, whatever it is. Apply it to your life and kill it. Next, you got to keep your word. There's so many people out here that just say things just to be saying it. In my generation, and I may be dating myself, as I was growing up, one of the phrases of our generation was keep it real. One of the phrases that I noticed from the next generation was fake it till you make it. And it was such a polarizing difference between the two mottos of the generations. Keep it real and fake it till you make it. It was interesting. So there's a propensity as well as a tolerance for lies. For lies. There's a tolerance. People know you're putting filters on the picture. See pictures on. I don't even like social media because, man, I be going to people's profiles and all they do is just take pictures of themselves, man. Look, if you hit me up on social media and you trying to, connect or something, and I go to your profile and all there is pictures of yourself and you and your dog, and you let your dog lick you all in the mouth, that's gross, man. I ain't trying to have that. But it's not real. And, I'll go so far as to say, and man, this is controversial. It's very controversial. I've gotten cussed out for saying this, but I still believe it. Makeup is lying. Putting makeup on your face, you're lying. That's not what you look like. I've seen brothers put lifts in their shoes, put things in their shoes to make them look taller. They got some of the best wigs out now that I've ever seen to make you look like you're not bald. There's a lot of fakeness going on, but in the real, there's a lot of people who aren't keeping the word or are not telling the truth. If you say you're going to do something, do it. You know, the value of respectful, responsible, mature character of a man or a woman is absolutely necessary. 100%. You may think you got away with something by being dishonest or not keeping your word or having these excuses as to why you said something and didn't follow through on it. Don't nobody care about your excuses. And anyone who do care about your excuses will give you the same excuses when they break their word. Keep your word. That's how you're going to thrive. You can thrive by keeping your word, being dependable, responsible. People look at you and they know, hey, when she says something, she does it. She keeps her word. So let's do this dance. Versus taking a gamble with someone that could be just straight flossing and got a filter all over their life. Number 4, acquire bankable skills. I think it's time to really start moving away from this work a job 9 to 5 until you retire dance. I thought it was time when, I think it was the 90s or something, when they converted pensions into 401ks, when they took the responsibility of the retirement away from the corporation, took it off the corporation, and transferred the responsibility for a person's retirement to the stock market, man. It's crazy. It's amazing. I think it's funny how people don't even recognize this stuff. Acquiring bankable skills that you can utilize on behalf of yourself, on behalf of your family, that don't require you to have a large conglomerate employer or something like that, or something of that nature, is how you're going to thrive in the 21st century. I'm serious. As the proliferation of the Internet of Things and autonomous robots and stuff like that, assemblers, continues, there's going to be less and less jobs available, especially manual jobs, different worker jobs, stuff like that. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of calling customer service and this robot keeps trying to talk to me. I can understand complete sentences. You're automated, whatever. I put 0 before I can send you. We need to know which. I put 0, and just so you know, if y'all just put 0, just keep pushing 0, you'll get someone most of the time. Some of them they program the system to hang up on you if you don't talk to the robot. But I'm not talking to a robot. But those of you who answer phones and do customer service, you're steadily being replaced by artificial intelligence, by robots talking to you. I don't talk to robots on the phone, y'all. I don't. I hate it. It makes me sick. Okay, it doesn't make me sick, but it does bother me. Number 5, start a business. Start a business. You can employ your children, you can employ your family members, you can even employ your friends. It can be difficult, it can be cantankerous, it can be scary. But man, start your business. You can do it. You can definitely do it. But the only way to thrive in 21st century America is to own nothing and control everything privately. Own nothing, control everything. As the states, because look, y'all saw, maybe you didn't see, but I think it was Schumer, in the House or the Senate or whatever, man, introduced a bill to federally decriminalize cannabis. It's going to be a harbinger of income to these states that, continue to legalize. But as these states continue to expand, these governments expand, the income that was once sufficient when legalization hit will become insufficient after a few years. And you will definitely be subject to predatory policies instituted by states, municipalities, cities, and in some situations, counties. If you think of playing, wait a couple years. You'll see. But as the states become more and more broke and desperate and predatory, they're going to be raising property taxes, raising sales taxes. There's going to be some crazy stuff. And coming after, individuals, coming after families. We got about a minute left in the broadcast, 60 seconds. If you're listening online, you want to call in, 563-999-3625. Otherwise, you'll be disconnected. And though any trustee is the legal owner of property in trust, trustees of private trust do not experience the incident's personal ownership due to properly limited liability via trust instrument and the cardinal virtues of the trustees. It is this limited liability that makes and extends the power of the trust no less than the corporation, but it is the latitude of choice of whether to function in common law with absolute rights in commerce under the general law merchant or in Roman civil law venue with only relative rights. There's an alarm going off in the office. Or in the Roman civil law venue with only relative rights in commerce under private international law that makes the trust inter alia far superior and profitable. Under the aegis of a properly set up trust, the trustee is clothed in a veil, impenetrable, but from within. The suit of armor is this trust contract, a trust instrument, which holds to the trustee in all his good faith dealings on behalf of the trust, fully compensating him or her for her services or his services, privileging his use of trust property, and enabling his or her exercise of creativity in business endeavors, all without the excessive weight of inquisitorial legislation. The greater latitude afforded under specific private or express trust manifests itself in a number of ways, one of which is in the prosecution of claims and commercial liens wherein the trust acquires for value the account of a debtor, and the trustee utilizes the trust's qualities in order to effectively collect the debt owed. The trust brings with it a form of professionalism and authority which enables the debt to be collected honorably, and when one is trustee, he or she is in a fiduciary position generally looked upon with respect for the integrity inherent in this position. This has always been the case, except where the power has been abused. But even so, history is clear that there are far more abuses of power via corporations than with trusts. The bottom line is that private trusts relation is the most effective means to owning nothing and controlling it all, and when utilized properly, it affords its participants with all the ingredients of legal health and commercial wellness. It is also true that no matter how many arguments are made against the private expressed trust, the learned reader will always see through the propaganda and spin, knowing the state's nagging concern is the utter lack of in rem jurisdiction over express trusts. Possession is 9/10 of the law. At the end of the day, in rem jurisdiction remains in the private venue, i.e. with the trustee pursuant to the private contract between he or she and the settlor or the grantor. So, from natural deduction, it should become clear that private express trust can really only fail due to some misgiving or impropriety on the part of the trustee. The trustee must therefore trust his or herself. And this is the main reason why we offer trustee training, because these types of trust are only penetrated due to misadministration or improper administration on behalf of the trustees. The only way that a private contractual entity can be pierced is if there is a discrepancy or some commingling, some self-dealing on behalf of the trustee or the board of trustees. So when thinking about how are you going to thrive, not just survive, but thrive, it is going to be predicated upon your access to wealth and your access to food, clothing, shelter, transportation. Now, in a predatory legislative or statutory environment, it is an everyday occurrence that the state will take your stuff. Perfect example, a friend of mine, we were, he told me this story, I wasn't with him. He met a friend of his at a lake in the city, and he got out of his car, and I may have told this story before. He got out of his car and got into a car with his friend, and they took off. They went somewhere. I don't know where they went. Upon his return, he noticed that there was the lower lease, aka the police. I call them the lower lease, private as to why, but I call them the lower lease. The lower lease was chilling right next to his car, his parked car. They were just sitting there. And he decided not to go up to the car. He wanted to wait for them to pull off. But what happened was a tow truck pulled up next to his car, and that's when he got out the car, and he started, hey. He tried to, what's going on? Am I not illegally parked? Fine. Well, the lower lease officer proceeded to tell him, hey, you have many, many parking tickets unpaid. Many, many. And the new city ordinance is that if there's a certain number of unpaid parking tickets, the city can take your car. I'm not playing. My man lost his car. Lost it. Had that car been in a trust, would not have been able to happen. There's a difference when a car is titled to trust versus is titled to an individual name, a state citizen or U.S. citizen, so to speak. It's very different. If you have never administered trust, it's difficult for you to comprehend what I'm attempting to, convey. If you have administered trust, it could still be difficult. If you've administered trust and you've ever been pulled over in a car that is titled to the trust, you know what I'm talking about. If you disclose, like whose car is this? And, if you disclosed it, you know what I'm talking about. Because from my experience and from any stories or reports that I've heard from people who have been pulled over in a car or a van or truck or SUV or whatever, that was in the name of the trust. Once it was disclosed that it was trust property and that they were merely trustees, the whole situation changed. The attitude of the officer changed. And, it's really something to think about when it comes to predatory practices on your private property. They just took his car. He never got it back. They just took it as if it was theirs. He was very upset. He's still upset about it. Where we at? The private contract express trust is a trust created by private contract for the holding of a divisible property interest wherein the trustees are empowered by the grantor to do for a beneficiary, choosing whatever he may do for himself as an individual sui juris. What has been created here is a trust organization lawfully by natural right. As a general proposition, it may be asserted that one who creates a trust may mold it into whatever form he or she pleases, and that whatever one may lawfully do as an individual, they may authorize another to do for them through trust. Doing so requires no benefit, privilege, or franchise from any government or other outside party, and therefore the parties owe no duty to any government or other outside party to the extent that no common law, criminal, or civil wrong is the purpose of the contract. When done properly, the trust is afforded all the common law protections ordinarily given to private contracts, particularly the obligation of them. Now, the question is whether the parties to the contract are truly acting sui juris, i.e., for their pure, unadulterated common law natural rights, because the parties import or associate benefits which grant an outside party a vested interest in the proposed contract, then the contract has acquired a third party, overseer, or intervener. In Berry versus McCourt, it's a 1965 Supreme Court decision. The court held that an express trust is a, quote, contractual relationship based on trust form, end quote. And in Smith versus Morse, it was held that any law or procedure in its operation denying or obstructing contract rights impairs the contractual obligation and is therefore violative of Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution. Because a private contract express trust is created by the exercise of the natural right to contract, which cannot be abridged, the agreement, when executed, becomes protected under federally enforceable right of contract law and not under laws passed by any of the several state legislatures. Also, in Elliott versus Freeman, the court made it clear that the private express contract trust is not subject to legislative control. It went further to acknowledge the wise stance of the United States Supreme Court that the trust relationship comes under the realm of equity based upon common law right of contract and is not subject to legislative restrictions as are corporations and other organizations created by legislative authority. To clarify the equity and common law distinctions for the basis for trusts under the common law in this instance is not that such organizations are creatures of common law as distinguished from equity, but that they are created under common law of contracts and do not depend upon any state or state statute. Now, I know a lot of people that really think that this stuff is too good to be true. That feel as though maybe I don't understand the Supreme Court case. That's the Supreme Court. That doesn't apply to me. And I want to tell you unequivocally that that's false. It's 100% false. Now, when you understand that there are over 80 different types of trust, when you understand that there are two main types of trust, or two main categories of trust, and there are over 80 different types of trust. The two main categories of trusts are those trusts that owe their existence to legislation from some sort of public authority, and those trusts that owe their existence to a private contract. When you're dealing with any type of statutory, acknowledged, and authorized trust, there's going to be specific rules. Things that a legislative controlled trust can do and a legislative controlled trust cannot do. These are distinctions that must be understood if you're looking to thrive in the 21st century America. Corporations are artificial creations of the state, as well as state trusts, or federal government under physical charter or franchise issued via state or federal civil law for commercial regulation under Article 1, Section 1, Article 1, Section 8, Clauses 1 through 3. They are not under the literal common law because of the charter. They get a charter from the state. Any legal action against the corporation is legally called an in rem action because it is against the thing or property, also called res, of the corporation under the charter. The courts have automatic subject matter jurisdiction because the physical charter is the subject matter. Does that make sense? The subject matter is the charter for the corporation, or the articles of organization of, if in this case an LLC. It was authorized and created by the state of. And this is simple for me. I guess this is simple, and I try to explain this thing, very simply. Now, under the letter of the constitutional law, there is no commercial regulation. But House Joint Resolution 192, along with 15 U.S.C., brought in a third party for commercial regulation for public policy. Remember, equity compels performance. The law views unincorporated associations as a danger to the substance of the common law because of their debit credit system. This is because there is no counterbalance to the demands the association puts on the substance of the earth. Thus, the reason for all the federal and state regulatory agencies. In other words, there is a presumption by implication in civil law that a charter, a metaphysical, abstract, unreal type, exists because persons are availing themselves of privileges pertaining to House Joint Resolution 192. Therefore, these persons come under a quasi-in rem jurisdiction of the civil law in order to regulate, control, including compel those that are outside the literal common law principles. The many participants under this system, especially the 14th Amendment citizens from each state, together form an unincorporated federation of state associations operating under interstate commerce as addressed in Article 4, Section 3, Clause 2, and reinforced by the landmark Erie Railroad Company versus Tompkins decision. This is the basis for the federal and state government's compulsion of persons to its private international law, i.e. the spirit, not the letter, of the common law mixed with public Roman law or civil law under law of nations per Article 1, subsection 8, Clause 3 and 10, and Article 6, Clause 2, nowadays commonly known as codes and statutes, whether state or federal, to regulate everything as a matter of commerce. Right? I hope you're following, man, because hey, look. By operation, in rem element, all persons subject to the jurisdiction are not necessarily regarded as fictional vessels per se, but are more so as objects of the state. These objects, like vessels in traditional admiralty practice, are vested with distinct quasi-corporate juridical personality, but unlike vessels, are capable of suing and being sued in personam. In personam. In personam. I like personam, but personam. Okay, fine. It's Latin. 14th Amendment citizens of the United States, whether state or federal, chartered corporations or metaphysical chartered corporate colored public persons, therefore, are akin to public vessels of the United States within the broad meaning of the Public Vessels Act and are regulated accordingly. The United States, as with the Roman Church, is considered in international law as a ship of state. The express trust then is akin to a private vessel of the United States of America, navigated through the often hostile waters called interstate commerce, which is international commerce via the United States treaties. Think about it. Think about it for 2 seconds. So, I mean, technically, and, you know, just basically going off of this, only corporations will be considered U.S. citizens, right? No? That's the way I'm looking at it. Now, even though in today's economic situation the term citizen is presumed to signify the 14th Amendment citizen, the term cannot be applied to express trust when administered properly. In contrast, corporations as artificial persons are citizens of the United States within the meaning of the 14th Amendment per Santa Clara County versus Southern Pacific Railroad Company, 118 U.S. 394 396. A man's right to contract is considered so fundamental that even under Roman law, in its system of domestic slavery, all men, citizen or not, with the exception of slaves, the only non-persons, retain this fundamental right of contract. It is understood to derive from a man's creator and therefore is unalienable. Even with his own consent or waiver, man's right of contract logically is held by him in trust to his creator as property, which has been settled upon him and thus can never be contracted away because such would invalidate the original contract itself. I'm going to say that one more time. A man's right of contract is considered so fundamental that even under Roman law, in its system of domestic slavery, all men, citizen or not, with the exception of slaves, whom were the only non-persons, retain this fundamental right of contract. It is understood to derive from a man's creator and therefore is unalienable, even with his own consent or waiver. Man's right of contract logically is held by him in trust to his creator as property, which has been settled upon him and thus can never be contracted away because such would invalidate the original contract itself. The only way that you're going to survive, the only way you're going to thrive is if you first of all, you understand that, you know, this is it's all admiralty. It's all you know, civil law. I mean, commercial law. It's maritime admiralty law. It's commerce, commercial law. It's commercial law. And through extensive study, one can come to the conclusion that governments and municipalities and statutory authorities can only govern its own creations. But the administration has to be on point. It has to be 100% on point. 100%. Not 99%, not 98%, not 97%, 100% on point. And that's why, you know, we offer trustee training here at the foundation. It's one thing to sell someone a trust and say peace. It's like me selling you a bicycle but not teaching you how to ride it. It looks pretty sitting over in the corner, but without the proper education on how to operate a bicycle, you can actually kill yourself on one of those things. And I think this type of scenario is to be associated also with the administration of trust. Because only those that know how to properly administer private contractual entities are going to be those who thrive in this coming monetary system that is being reset or recreated as we speak. And over here talking about the Fed is determining whether or not they're going to do a central bank digital currency. Come on, man. Now, and if we move to central bank digital currencies, which is going to happen across the world, commercial, listen to what I'm saying, and that central bank digital currency CBDC wallet for the digital currencies of the central bank is in the name of an all-capital entity, individual, that is a U.S. citizen, is going to be a much different situation than a coin wallet that is owned and in the name of a private contractual trust. Please understand what I'm trying to tell you right now. Please understand what I'm trying to tell you right now. Lawsuits, litigation, predatory practices are disallowed from touching the trust of a properly established contractual entity. Don't let people scare you off and scare you away from, what is rightfully yours. And you have the right to contract unlimited. And depending on how you contract, depending on how you do business, depending on how you live life, you have the potential to thrive. You can do it. But I suggest that while you're thriving, before you thrive, you set up the proper structures, not only so you can own nothing and control everything, but also you protect assets and wealth and property because you don't own it. How you gonna take it? You can sue me, bro. Sue me. Good luck. Oh, I'm sorry, that's trust property. Oh, what? It's an amazing thing. It makes me feel great to be in the position I'm in, and I'm doing just like I'm telling y'all. I'm staying humble. I'm not using filters. I'm keeping my word. I'm acquiring bankable skills every day. And of course, I've started multiple businesses. Heavily into real estate at the moment, heavily into consulting, heavily into technology. Those are the three main sectors outside of the original, entertainment sector, by which of royalty, quarterly payments, because multiple streams of income is the pathway to wealth. And if you're looking to strive, you got to do multiple things. You'll never get rich working a job. Ever. You will never get rich working for someone else. Working a job. Unless you know how to program and you're headhunted by Google or Microsoft or something, it's not going to happen. It is not. And it's up to us. It's up to us to make our own reality. So, how do you thrive in 21st century America? Stay humble. Don't filter. Keep your word. Acquire bankable skills. Start a business and own nothing. Control everything. I know, I probably have this uncanny ability to bring everything and tie everything into trust. It's just how I see the world, I've been around very, very powerful people. I've been around people with a lot of money. I've been on yachts the size of apartment buildings. I've sat on couches that cost 15 grand, 20 grand, chairs that cost 10 grand. I've sat at desks that cost 5, 10 grand. I mean, I walk into a room, I can't even afford the couch, the love seat, player. I've been in these situations. I've been around people very, very rich, and they're different than we are. They're very different than us. Very different. And from what I saw and what I experienced and what I learned, the difference between the wealthy and those who are not wealthy are the structures that they use, as well as the tools and methods they use to grow and create wealth. But they tell us just get a job and work really hard. And if you work really hard, one day you can be somebody. I saw a meme where it was like, 10 years I was broke, but I worked hard. I came in early. I put in overtime, and now 10 years later I'm still broke, but my boss can buy a Lamborghini. I thought that was very, 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 very sad, but very true. Historically, wages do not keep pace with inflation. In the currency, historically, wages do not keep pace with inflation in housing costs and food costs. But, is this, at the end of the day, this is my opinion. I don't give legal advice. I'm not an attorney or a lawyer. I'm just not. But I can give anyone the blueprint on how to be successful, but I can't execute the blueprint for them. You understand what I'm saying? And, I understand, a lot of this may seem outside of the realm of reality or the realm of what's possible for you to achieve. Don't be hating on yourself. You need to believe in yourself, and you need to know that you can do things. And even if you don't believe you can do it, try it anyways. And try it realistically, like a valiant effort, not just a half-ass, half-stepping effort. Like, for real, go for it. You got one life to live. Nothing's guaranteed. Why would you spend your whole life being safe? Live your life. Grow your wealth. Get your empire popping. Do what you want to do. Make it happen. But you got to grind how most won't if you want to live how most can't. If you want to thrive in the 21st century America, you got to know what to do. As always, you can email me, admin@welcometothefoundation.com if you have any questions. If you'd like to book a consultation, you can go to welcometothefoundation.com, get some free PDFs, grab any of the offerings, Foundation Trust Primer, Foundation Trust Series, Passport No Social. But trustee training, for me, in my opinion, is where it's at. And you're not going to find anything like it anywhere unless it's someone copying what they saw over here at the foundation. But what trustee training is what I wish was available for me when I came into this information in, 2011? When I first started learning about trust, I had no idea about SPC or the straw, none of that, man. I was just, I'm trying to keep my bread, trying to keep my zeros in my pounds. But it's crazy, when you walk a path where it goes and where it takes you. So, hey, I want what's best for you. Definitely do. I want you to make it. I want you to be successful. I want you to be happy. I want you to raise happy children. So, when your children, if and ever they come in contact with my children, your children are not toxic and Daniel Downers, Daniel and Debbie Downers, Demetrius Downers, DeQuanda Downers. You know what I'm saying? Debbie, Demetrius, Daniel. That's it. There it is. That's the show. You know what I'm saying? I'm not taking any calls tonight. It's crazy. None. Zero. Not a one. But I appreciate y'all, and I love y'all. And I really, really, really am working hard so that whenever you're ready, I can help you as well. But, from business credit to setting up your business, setting up your trust, business trust, asset trust, family trust, all that stuff is included in the trustee training. We meet once a week as a group, and you can contact me throughout the week individually. And, if I do say so myself, man, we're changing the world. At the very least, we're changing the hood, or changing people who came from the hood, or, just changing, what brothers and sisters are able to do in their lives. Allowing brothers and sisters to dream higher, to reach higher. Because, the process of learning how to administer trust instills confidence in you. You become competent in a very highly specialized 1% subject. And, hey, it's a beautiful thing. Growth through knowledge, growth through experience, growth through expression. It's a beautiful thing. So, admin at welcometothefoundation.com. If book a consultation, say what's up. If you would like the document from today, all you gotta do is 9/22 show document, and I will email it to you. No questions asked. All you gotta say 9/22 show document. Email me, admin at welcometothefoundation.com. I'll email you this. I know you heard me turning pages because I printed it off, but it is a PDF, so I'll just shoot it to you in an email. And yeah, I look forward to assisting you in your transition to the private. I really do. I look forward to serving you and your family. So with that being said, it's been a pleasure, as it always is. I look forward to, like I said, assisting you in private transition. And, I appreciate y'all checking out the show. And just know that, a lot of things seem difficult. The biggest detriment with regards to how we do things or don't do things is that we don't believe in ourselves. And we need to believe in ourselves. We need to empower ourselves. We need to support each other as we make these moves and come into this new world of abundance. And I just want you to know that you can do it, but you have to believe that you can do it, and you have to begin to do it, so that eventually you can become what you're believing that you can. But it takes work, and it takes work. And there's times where you want to give up. There's times where you say that I can't do it. There's going to be times where you feel like really, really lame. Times where you feel really, really embarrassed. Times where you feel very, very frustrated. I'm going to tell you, like I tell the trustees and different clients, you will be tested with this information, whether in your relationship, in your family, in your job, whatever. In your future plans and ambitions, you will be tested when you come into this information. It's not going to be all honky-dory. Please believe. You can ask any trustee in the training that has ever done the training and actually, did it for real and started making moves, opening bank accounts, titling vehicles, so on and so forth, setting up business trusts and whatnot. Tests come, tests abound. But once you get through it, man, it's one of the biggest confidence boosters that you'll ever experience in your life. Really. And then you start upgrading your life. But you deserve better. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be successful. And you deserve to thrive in 21st century America. And I trust that, if necessary, I can assist you in that endeavor. As I say, I believe in you. I really do. It's the lack of belief and the lack of attempts that have us messed up. I'm serious. So believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Stay humble. Don't filter. Keep your word. Acquire bankable skills. If you haven't already, start a business and get into trustee training. Admin at welcometothefoundation.com. This will ensure that you thrive and not only survive to the 21st century. I appreciate y'all checking out the show. My name is So L, Seeker of Truth L, Speaker of Truth L. And as always, it has been a pleasure. And I will catch y'all next week on the same network, the hottest radio network on the planet. That's High Frequency Radio Network. As I said, I am So L. Y'all have a great week. You enjoy yourself. Take care of yourself. Make sure you say 10 things that you're thankful for before you go to sleep tonight. Every night it is important. There's a law of attraction. And as I said, I'll catch y'all next week. Same high frequency time. Same high frequency channel. Y'all have a great week. Love y'all. Peace to the gods.
Doing this thing all the way live. High Frequency Radio.